everybody, welcome back to our awesome, amazing show. I know, I just tooted our own horns there, but welcome back everybody, happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Joining us is our very own Jerome Maldonado and Daniel Kwak, the other half of the Kwak Brothers. What's going on, Jerome? It's been a while, I've been in our studio.
You know what, it hasn't been, it hasn't been that long, but it hasn't been early enough to be back. But I'm happy to be here. So before the holidays, we were able to join in for Real Estate Domination, and I'm excited to talk about some of these market trends and stuff. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Year ago.
Right?
Was it that long? Oh, well,
last year, yeah, 2020, a couple months ago.
Last year
yeah.
ago. So, with that being said, guys, a couple topics we're going to talk about today, and if you're just joining us, welcome. We're going to be talking about the 2021 housing market, and Jerome's here for that as well, and Daniel, and we'll have that conversation. And then we'll have a conversation about the newly introduced, what we know so far about the Biden's COVID-19 relief package that includes a $1,400 stimulus check that complements and adds up to the last stimulus check we had of $600, and now it's becoming $2,000. So let's kick it off with the housing market production. But before we do, Daniel, what do you want to talk about before is right next to you?
Yeah, we got a couple things that people can take advantage of. Number one, we got an event, which is actually why we love having Jerome here in our studio, because Jerome, myself, and there's a guy, your friend. He's pretty well known guy. I don't know
Pretty well known.
Yeah. Is it Lai Lopez?
Ryan? Ty Lopez.
Ty
Lopez.
Yeah, thank you. Got it. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, we got Ty Lopez. We got my friend Mr. Steve Hamilton, who's a tax professional. He's going to be talking about how to structure your finances and also your entities so that you can succeed in 2021. I'll be talking about the 2021 housing market and strategies that you can utilize. Jerome, what are you going to be talking about, sir? Tell these people what you're going to be talking about.
I'm going to be talking about acquiring assets in a downturn market, in times of distress, how to position and pivot. And I'm going to be talking about taking advantage of distressed assets, industrial warehouse space, and other distressed assets that we're actually investing in currently right now. In fact, we're going to spend the day doing that here today.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of distressed assets and a lot of distressed people in
2021,
If you're financially distressed as an individual, that you can't take advantage of some of what we're actually talking about, which is what's really cool about a downturn economy. It's like turning lemons into lemonade and taking a negative and making it into a positive. So for those of you guys who are looking at this and sitting back going, oh my God, COVID has been horrible, you got to sit back and say, okay, it's here, I can't change it, but I can go out and take advantage and pick up the pieces of what's crumbled.
Yeah.
And so that's really what I'd like to talk about and really focus people's energy on, is not the negative of COVID, but
for
the
sure.
positive now.
The opportunity.
You got to move forward, right?
We got to move forward.
Yeah, it's time.
That's exactly right. So dealcloserlive.com, guys. That's the event. Go get your tickets. Dealcloserlive.com. It should be in the description. But what do we got to talk about? We got the housing market.
Yeah,
you want to tackle that first while he's here?
Yeah, so 2021 housing market update as far as what we believe to happen. Yeah. I mean, we share a lot of our perspective in our channel, but we want to hear from the perspective of other people. Yep. And Jerome's been in the game for how long? Like 30 years now? 20 years?
He's not that old, Sam.
I'm intentionally pushing it up so that if I say like 5 years,
what do you mean? Jerome's 29. Come on.
If I say 5 years, and Jerome's gonna look at me funny, like I've been doing more than that, right?
A little over 2.5 decades in the game.
Okay,
2.5 decades.
Around 25 years, right?
25 years. Yeah.
So we want to hear from his perspective. I mean, you've seen several market cycles, right? We've only seen one, and we can only predict based on what the textbook says, right? But you've seen it, you felt it, you saw the outcry, you saw the blood on the street. What is it? So what is this reminiscence of for you? Like, are we pretty much in the same thing as 2008? Because you were practicing real estate.
Yeah. Some of the blood on the street.
Yeah. Yeah, you were one of the blood. You said, you were bleeding.
I had a little bit of blood.
Was it a little prick, or was it like a just nonstop bleeding?
Sometimes it felt like I was gushing blood for a few
months.
Jeez. Hey man, but you survived, didn't you? Yeah, you survived, baby.
Put some Neosporin on it.
For sure.
Walked out of there strong.
But what are your thoughts, man, on what's going to happen this year, next year? There's a lot of speculation going on, but there's not enough actual experienced experts being in the conversation. But you, my friend, are an actual experienced expert. Right. What do you think?
Thank you. This is a great time, and I just can't stress to people enough how good of a time this is and the opportunities that lie in front of us. When 2008 hit, I was scraped up and bloody a little bit. We had a lot going on. We got through it, but it took some work. But the way we got through it is how I'm encouraging people now to take advantage of this, because we utilized good assets, distressed assets that we picked up for such discounted prices that it helped service the debt on some of the assets that we were building and developing at the high end of the market. And so for those people that even got bloodied up a little bit, it's your guys' opportunity to take advantage of good assets and reposition yourself to take advantage of what's to come.
Yeah.
So,
well, let me shift the gear a little bit. And because ultimately we don't want people getting too bloodied until they die, right? Metaphorically speaking, and not physically. But who's the most vulnerable people right now? Who are, like, out of all the people that are investing in real estate that's in this game? They want to buy rental properties, they want to do flips or whatever they want with real estate, or just generally economy. What's the characteristics of a person that's really vulnerable?
Who needs to watch out? Who needs to
say, yeah.
Well, in my opinion, the single-family homeowners, the people that are not really real estate investors, the majority of the people in the United States, their number one investment is their home, their residence, the place they call, they call home. And unfortunately, their biggest asset, a lot of these people have purchased incorrectly because they just really don't know the finance game and they don't know the investing game, and so subsequently enough, they're being affected the worst. And so the non-investors that have invested are the ones that I feel have the biggest liability right now with everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Yeah, sorry, we were just checking to make sure Jerome's microphone was okay, and then
you guys can hear me.
Yeah, someone said his mic was a little low, so we made sure we changed that. And of course, for those joining us, feel free to drop any questions. I'm monitoring chat. Daniel's also monitoring the chat as well, and then we'll be asking those questions as we continue the conversation. So let's talk about the next 6 months. Obviously, everyone's right now talking about how Biden's the president.
Speaking of the next 6 months, Jerome, let me ask you this question, because I know you got to head out. Because guys, Jerome, this is when you got the right speaker for the Deal Closer Live. This man is about to leave the office in 15 minutes. He's about to check out. What are you going to check out, man? You're going to check out a pretty big piece of real estate.
Yeah, we have a 131,000 square foot industrial warehouse spot that we're doing, 26 acres, 13 of it vacant. We're going to redevelop the 13 vacant acres for another 100 to 150,000 square feet of additional warehouse space, so about 300,000 square feet under roof on this one project, plus a few hotels today, distressed asset hotels.
Nice.
So we'll look at all that stuff today, this afternoon.
Yeah, so that's a real deal closer. Yeah, I mean, so this is the question I have for you, man. Speaking of the next 6 months, Sam said, looking towards this year, we've got a couple balls in the air that I feel like us as real estate investors, we need to carefully monitor. We've got the eviction moratorium. That will be wearing off. We don't know how much they're going to kick the can down the road.
Well, they're right now saying till September 2021. They may kick the can down, and that's part of the Biden stimulus package, which we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but that's the plan thing.
So we got the eviction moratorium happening sometime this year. We don't know when.
Right.
Again.
Yeah.
Right. We got some potential displacements. We've still got some delinquencies. We've got a lot of these things up in the air. Jerome, what do you think? How do you think it's going to affect the housing market? How do you think that affects real estate?
Well, I think 2021, I think we might skate by the mass majority this year. I think that towards the tail end of the year, we're going to start seeing it. My early projections, not knowing that we were going to get an extension on the moratoriums, all the forbearances and stuff, now that we're looking at the end of March, moving into April, what ends up happening is it takes 60 to 90 days for things to unfold and start showing its true colors, right? And so with the moratorium expirations looking at getting extended throughout the first quarter of the year, I really think that the end of the second and third quarter of 2021, we're going to start seeing the blinders come off. But I really think the true colors are going to present themselves strong by the beginning of 2022. So we're really going to start seeing.
You don't think it's going to happen sooner?
I think we're going to start seeing the colors of it sooner.
Okay.
But I think we're going to really start feeling it.
Okay.
Because there's a process that typically that goes through it. So first, there's a part of denial, right? So people try to hold. They struggle to hold. So we'll see these forbearances come up. Then it'll take 60 days for the mortgage companies to start exercising the true laws behind the true rules and regulations behind the moratoriums. And then as people can't come to the table with those 60 days down the road, then there's a denial period where they try to hold on to their assets, right? And they're trying to figure out other means and other ways. Some of them will be successful refinancing, some won't.
Modifications.
Yeah, modifications. So there's another 60 days of denial period. And then when I say true colors, what I'm talking about is now we start hearing about it. The numbers start to escalate. The Federal Reserve can't hide all of what's coming in foreclosures.
Yeah.
And if 2009 has any type of appearance to what happened in 2009 shows its appearance here, what happens is that the foreclosure rates go up so high that the Federal Reserve won't release all these foreclosures to the market. So they start not hiding them, but they hold them. And so they'll hold all this inventory, and then they'll slowly release it into the marketplaces.
Yeah.
And they'll start doing HUD homes and all the other stuff to start releasing them slowly. But there's going to be a mass influx of foreclosures and stuff due to all of this that's going to happen.
Yeah, I would agree, my friend. Yeah, I would agree. Matter of fact, I know you and I were talking about it, on your live show, which, by the way, Jerome, tell these guys, man, what's your YouTube channel so they can go check you out?
Yeah, if you guys just go to Jerome Maldonado on YouTube, you'll see my picture. I think that one has me and Ty in his backyard up in L.A., and you guys can visit us there. We're streaming. We have live talks on Real Talk on Real Estate every Friday mornings as well, and so join us.
Yeah,
All of you.
Yeah, for sure, man. But I know we were talking about how there's a potential that the Federal Reserve may actually end up start buying private real estate mortgages and backed securities backed by real estate mortgages.
Yeah.
And we were talking that for us it's a possibility and more of a likelihood that their balance sheet may actually hit over 10 trillion this year. I mean,
It's crazy, isn't it?
which has never
crazy.
happened
It's
before.
We were at around 4 in January of this year.
Yeah.
Back when Obama was in office, we had 900 billion.
Yeah.
In terms, and then QE started, and that elevated things. So again, a lot of interesting stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and for those who don't know what the balance sheet, Federal Reserve balance sheet means, think of it like if you own a car and house, and and let's say you own a $200,000 home. Well, in your personal balance sheet, you have a $200,000 asset. Well, for the Federal Reserve, it's going to be $10 trillion because that's how much money that they've lent and printed, which is something has never happened before.
They became, in a span of, I think, 2 weeks, they became the world's largest investor. So think about what Warren Buffett's achieved in 40 years. They did it in like
2
weeks.
Yeah, a couple of days, yeah.
They printed more money in 1 year, in 2020, than we did the first 200 years that we were a country.
Yeah.
1 year.
Right.
That's
insane, man. That is insane. Yeah, it can't be healthy for the country. Just, makes you wonder.
What people don't know is that the central banking system owns more real estate and more assets than any investor in the entire world.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Exactly right. Well, Edwin in the comment section made a really good point that the Fed has to keep buying in order to keep the rates down low,
right?
Which makes sense because if you think about what the Federal Reserve's job is to monitor and control the money supply of our economy. And you're not going to do it through rates because the rates are
already zero.
They're as low as you can, unless you want to go Europe and you want to go negative rates.
Interest rates, right?
But that's what they have to do. Edwin made a good point. Good point, my friend.
Yeah.
Right.
Another question we got.
Miranda.
Yeah, we can go with Miranda's question. Would there be any help for potential home buyers to get into more homes to help the economy? So what we're seeing right now, what's on the table at least is Joe Biden wants to introduce a $15,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers. Good and bad there, right? Good in a sense that, yes, there's more millennials are not buying homes. I think it's like 10% less home ownership than the previous generation. Bad in a way that obviously the money has to come from somewhere, right? It has to be either through tax revenue or through more printing, more borrowing. But that's what's happening. At least that's what Joe Biden is talking about during his presidency. He wants to introduce a tax credit for first-time home buyers. Just as a quick announcement, though, end of this month will be the last opportunity for you to get your mortgage forbearance. After this month, mortgage forbearance programs are done. It's no more. They extended it multiple times. FHA extended it so many times, like last year, 3 times. They're not going to be doing that anymore. At least who knows?
From what we know.
Last week of January, they may say, "Oh, we're going to kick it down again to March," right? And here we go. There's more, just adding more to the basket. So
what's that doing to our dollar bill?
What's that?
What's that doing to our dollar bill?
Oh man. Well,
What should people be investing in?
yeah.
In real estate,
Real
Jerome.
estate, man.
In real estate,
Yeah,
but I think you make a good point because I think when you look at the weakening of the dollar, and you see all these people, all the money being printed and whatnot,
Yeah.
and Coasty Picker, is that her name? His name. He made a good point. He said many countries around the world have been pumping out money. It's not just the U.S. and that's absolutely right. It's happening to a global economy. Think about why Bitcoin has gone up so much.
Yeah, Bitcoin, gold, silver.
Gold, silver, everything,
all
right?
commodities,
Litecoin, digital currency. It's because Bitcoin has really kind of taken gold's place as the most popular commodity.
Sure.
When you look at dollars and currencies being weakened, really ever since Nixon took the money off the gold standard, it became an unlimited machine.
Right.
So, it's for me and for Jerome and for Sam, for guys like us, it's really no surprise that the dollar is weak and it just so happens the commodity is really high.
Yeah.
But what I like about real estate is real estate will actually make you money.
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean,
if
man?
dollar bill, you can't buy the same asset.
Right.
If money depreciates in value, that means your asset just grew in value because you can't buy that same asset
Right.
anymore for what you bought it for.
Right.
And so, like I said, where there's distress, there's opportunity, and I hope that you guys realize this, because if you position yourself correctly, there's opportunity for you guys, for everybody, for all the viewers,
Right.
for everybody out there as well. You just have to invest it. You can't keep it in your pocket. I had a guy on social media yesterday, and it was funny. He was a clown. He came back and he goes, "Hey, well, why would I acquire good debt? I have $10 million that's liquid. Would you encourage me to acquire good debt?" I said, "Only if you want to have $100 million liquid at some point in your life."
Sure.
And it was funny because I was sitting back going, "God, you have $10 million liquid. How stupid are you? Why would you keep
Well,
$10
you know
million
what's
liquid?"
funny is that in the last 12 months, he doesn't actually hold 10 million now. He actually technically holds only 6.7 because the strength of one U.S. dollar decreased in 2020 by 33%.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
It's crazy.
With all the stuff, the U.S. dollar got weaker by 33%. So I would have told that guy, like, you don't got $10 million. You got 6.5.
Right.
Yeah.
True buying power.
What are you talking about? $10 million.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
I got a question about the dollar.
What's up, Nick? Get the camera on yourself. Nick's
I
a good-looking
finally,
guy.
I'm here,
He's
I'm
the
back.
only good-looking guy, bro. I'm here to see his face.
So I got a question for the greater group, for the greater chat. Is there a president in history who ever tried to reverse the gold standard? Was JFK one?
Yeah, he was.
JFK.
Man.
That's why he got assassinated.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
People
That's
thought
kind of what I'm.
Yeah.
He was Catholic, and I said
Right.
back and go, it doesn't have anything to do with that. When you try to dismantle the Federal Reserve,
Yes.
there's bullets flying.
Yeah.
So
Now, they'll get you.
Too
Yeah.
powerful.
Yep.
Too powerful.
Right.
Yeah. JFK tried to. Who else tried doing it? Reagan didn't.
No,
Reagan talked about it, but I don't think he really wanted
I think
to.
Trump is the only one that was kind of playing with the idea.
yeah, that's what they hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, here's something that he did too is that he privatized a lot of really strong industries that are up and coming.
Yeah.
One of the big things he really privatized was the space industry.
Yeah.
You look at something that's going to overtake the global economy in the next 10, 15, 20 years. You're talking about the space industry, and he made a really big push to privatize it.
Yeah.
And subsidize it as opposed to trying to take it over.
Yeah, you look at Elon Musk, you look at Richard Branson, all these guys that
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, all these guys that big time entrepreneurs, that have the means, because our government can't do it. They can't afford it.
No.
And they're not entrepreneurs so the foresight goes beyond that. And that's what most people don't realize. It does take private entrepreneurs to be able to get this stuff done. That's why it's so important to support them.
Yeah, right, for sure.
know?
I know you got to go here soon, my friend, but we got a question. Vicky Singh, she asked, "What is the best time to buy a house, 2021 or 2022?" So you're talking about a Mr. and Mrs. Jones type buyer.
Yeah.
They're not looking to invest, but this is the question. Jerome, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Well, there's a supply and demand issue right now. Prices are
Yes.
artificially stimulated, because there's lack of supply. Prices have artificially gotten stimulated. It's going to be short term. Believe you me, it's going to be short term. They can't sustain the growth that they have under the economics that we're encountering right now. It's just, it just can't hold. So my suggestion, if this is going to be your asset, this is going to be your home, you're going to call it home, you're going to raise your family there, I'd wait a little bit. If you're not in a rush, you're at a good place.
Yeah.
Hang tight.
Yeah.
Prices, they're going to go down. If you can afford to wait 9 months to a year, I think that it's going to be a better. And we're, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but under what I've seen thus far, I think it'd probably be a wise decision to hold for 9 months to a year,
Right.
and to see where the market is at that time, And if it's pushing on you, I have to, and market the rates are still high, then buy. But
Right.
if not, I have a feeling that you're going to be able to see a lot better buys.
Yeah. The trap that I see a lot of first-time home buyers and a lot of people fall into is this. It's kind of weird because it almost becomes a herd effect. And what I mean by herd effect is looking on paper, real estate price has increased. Like what you're saying, artificially, and also I like to call it phantom appreciation because it's an appreciation that's not real, right?
It's 15.6% increase in
it's
sales
above
price.
Fugazi, 2 years
right?
ago.
Right, year over year.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people are there, but it's kind of an inverse relationship where as the price goes up, I don't know what's going on, but people are like, oh, I got to buy a home because my cousin Joe bought a home, my sister, Dawn bought a home. I got to buy a home too.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, hold on, time out. Like, don't worry about what your cousins are doing. Don't worry about what your neighbors are doing. Focus on getting the best term and price
It's the
possible.
interest rates. They hear their interest rates are low, and they're not going to be able to get these rates will be around. They're not.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
not-
they'll be
not
around for a
going-
while.
They're not
They're
going
gonna be up for a
anywhere.
little while.
No.
Yeah, well, you think about the psychology of the masses. They look at that monthly payment. They're like, oh, the mortgage might be a little bit of
Yeah.
a stretch, but
Well,
this is our dream home and we can afford it.
Emotional
It's a very emotional.
Well, and it's
exactly,
also
yeah.
interesting. Like right now, the Fed rate's at 0. Some people could probably get a 30-year fix for 2.8%, right? It's really low. But a lot of people can buy the same home for $200,000.
Yeah.
When the rates go up, the price goes down. Really, they're buying the same thing. The payments are the same, right? It's just the whole idea of present value money based on interest rates and the premium on that. But I think, for those who are wanting or thinking about buying a home, like what Jerome was saying, buckle down. If you want the price you want, give it a year or two, and I think the price will come down.
A lot smarter time to buy.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, I appreciate
Yes.
you guys, man.
Yeah,
I
you
like
gotta
all
take
this,
off here.
I mean, a
So
little
Close
pit
some
stop
deals,
for-
man.
Yeah, Jerome's
2-hour
actually
pit
going
stop.
to look at a deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, hey, real quick before you leave, Jerome,
Yes.
tell the people once again, man, where can they find you? What's your YouTube channel? Go subscribe. You know what? I'm not gonna ask to like this video. Go like one of his videos. Do
Yeah,
me a
subscribe
favor.
to Jerome's
like this
videos.
one as well, guys.
Yeah.
You guys, these gentlemen have been, I'll tell you guys, I've collaborated and done business all over the country and even all over the world over the last 25 plus years, and there's always a motive behind people. And the thing I love most about the Kwak Brothers is they're not even in the South, but their Southern hospitality is just great.
No, I appreciate it,
So
man.
I just appreciate you.
Yeah,
that's
South
right.
Korean
South
hospitality,
Korean
yeah.
hospitality.
Yeah, their South
Yeah.
Korean hospitality
Yeah.
is
That's exactly
the second
right.
to none,
Yeah.
And so I just appreciate everything you guys stand for.
Yeah.
I just appreciate you guys. And
Hey.
you guys can find me at Jerome Maldonado and
Yeah.
the #1 on Instagram. And just look for the face, Jerome Maldonado
Yeah.
everywhere else. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys.
That's
man.
right.
Yeah, thank you, man.
You
Appreciate
guys have
it.
a
Go
good
crush
shit.
it.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I
So
appreciate
Jerome's gonna
you
make
guys.
an exit. He's actually gonna go look at deals.
Yes.
Yep, we got
Instead
we
of
got
just
4 of
talking.
them today.
Yeah, we were
Four
just talking.
deals.
4 deals, man. That's impressive. So
That's really good.
So with
Good
that
luck,
being
my friend. Yeah.
So with that being said, Jerome's making an exit here. All right, so we're 11:32. Do we want to start making transitions to Biden's stimulus talk?
Yeah, remind the people, man. We've got about 65 people on this live stream. And Nick, you can put in your 2 cents too if you want.
Okay.
But tell us, man. Update us. What's going on with Mr. Bo Biden? What's going on?
Hey,
with him?
we don't want to get banned on YouTube here,
I don't
right?
wanna go
We gotta-
get
What's going on with
yeah,
JB?
we all know that
Joe Biden. What's going on with JB?
Okay, so check this out. I gotta back here again. So Joe Biden just recently, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I can't track days anymore. Just yesterday unveiled not an actual bill. Let's not make that mistake. It's not an actual bill. He's mentioning the items that he wants to hit. But there will be an actual bill pretty soon. So he wants a $1.9 trillion spending package, and mainly has to do with coronavirus vaccines, economic relief, and also of course state and local funding. So approximately, I'll give you guys a bullet point, and we'll talk about it. We'll have a little dialogue and conversation here, just as we do. But the relief plan includes, and I'm getting my source from USA Today. I know some of you guys might say, oh, that's a biased news. I'm just taking the facts and running with it, okay? $170 billion to reopen schools, as well as provide financial relief to students, expand to 14 weeks of paid sick and family and medical leave. So that's likely monetary compensation. $25 billion in rental assistance. So that's additional $25 billion, I believe, on top of the $25 billion that we just seen passed a couple weeks ago. So that's total of $50 billion of rental assistance at play. Okay. That also includes $5 billion to cover home energy and water costs. We got extending the 15% supplemental nutrition assistance, so that's a SNAP program. Increased that by 15% till September 2021. $15 billion for grants to more than 1 million small businesses. So that's likely the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Grant. So if that happens, I'll most likely be making more videos. $20 billion investment to Indian country to support tribal governments. So those are reservations, Indian reservations, and also raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Okay, there it is. Let's go talk about that. Minimum wage. That's a good conversation.
Minimum wage from
to 15. That's a federal. So that's increasing the federal minimum wage to $15. So I have my opinion. I'll share my opinion.
What's your opinion, Nick and I? We'll
Okay.
chime in.
So here's the problem, right? If you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, what you're going to see is, and this is what the policymakers really want, it's more of an overarching increase of wage for everybody. Because all of a sudden, the guy, Joe, who's working at McDonald's making, let's say, $12 an hour, all of a sudden he gets $15 an hour, okay? Now what happens, there's gonna be a trickle-down effect where people that are doing other things like ambulance drivers, nurses, all the other professions will probably see a bump in the raise too. It's almost like a wage inflation, right? Because now, to make $15 an hour, that could be everybody, right? That could be everybody who can make $15 an hour. And I can understand both sides. The wages are low, right? People need to make a livable wage. But someone who's doing $15 an hour or the minimum wage, that's a starting point, right? For a lot of times that's a high school student, that's not middle school, that's too young. High school students, college students that are making extra money to get by, right? But someone who's making $15 an hour, or someone who should be well advanced in their career should not be making $15 an hour. That's not a wage issue. That's an education issue, and that's a career preparation issue, not a wage issue. Because I've seen, and I'm speaking from a capitalist standpoint, right? I'm a capitalist, okay, true capitalist, not a crony capitalism. If you provide the value to the economy, and what you do is meaningful to somebody, because ultimately in capitalism, you have to provide, create value, create solutions to a problem in the economy, and that's how you ultimately get compensated. But doing this $15 an hour thing, it kind of throws a wrench in that, because now there's almost this thing where you're not even having to provide as much value, but now you got a bump in raise. But again, I understand the both sides, right? Because a lot of people, unfortunately, they didn't have the opportunity to get the education, or they may not know how to provide that value. They're not living on a livable wage, which I understand. I can see the compassion side, but at the same time, you got to let capitalism and the idea of laissez-faire, right, kind of play out, right?
Yeah. Nick, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts on this, to be honest with you. One being that automation is becoming a thing in retail, right? So we got McDonald's already that's cutting back on the labor costs because they're implementing machines, right?
Right.
We're gonna see that in retail. I mean, gosh, Amazon already has like an automated store that you can go in and do that. So yeah, raising the minimum wage is going to be good for people like that, but you're going to see, in my opinion, you're going to see a loss of jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
Sector. It's going to affect
100%.
people more there. Secondly, too, with the minimum wage, it's going to be harder for people like small businesses to hire people, right? So that's going to cut back on the force, and it might actually force some of that offshore labor, as in like digital products and stuff like that. So the velocity money is not going to be staying in the States. It's going to be getting projected out even more than it is already.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just that's something I think about. It's just like a very simple-minded person. That might sound complicated, but if you break everything down, look at it just the bare minimum. I mean, I feel like the job market's going to get really small, and the people who are going to have those jobs might be making $15 an hour, but with the compensation for inflation and the cost of goods and the cost of living, it's just going to skyrocket in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Some like our company, and I'm speaking from a business owner, right? When you hire someone, the business isn't just paying $15 an hour. They're also paying unemployment insurance. They're also paying for, and I can't think of the other name. help me, Daniel here.
Talking about FICA?
No, well, FICA
benefits?
too,
Yeah.
benefits, Social Security.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So when we pay our employees, it's not just the $15 an hour. There's additional taxes that we pay, employment taxes that we pay.
Well, there's also cost of labor, like supplies,
Right.
meeting amenities, right? There's a lot.
So you can expect to see, a gallon of milk, the price will go up for sure, 100%. The cost has to be passed down. Either I have to fire someone or I have to charge more for my services to cover the cost of $15 an hour.
Sure. Or you have to hire a virtual assistant that's in India where you can get a better service actually.
For less than 15.
They do a better job because they're not whining, right? They're not saying, they're like, oh, my air conditioning's too cold in my office. I'm not saying our employees are great. I'm just saying,
all of our employees are amazing.
You know what I mean? But like the guy in the Philippines or India, like, dude, they're not gonna complain at all. They're happy to be getting $5-6 an hour.
Right.
And you gotta ask yourself the question, are we in a position now when we're a global economy? Can the average American compete? Right?
Yeah.
Are they triple the value of somebody who's getting $5 an hour? Are they worth 15? That's a question I don't know. Let's talk about why I have a problem. Well, I don't have a problem, by the way, with $15 an hour. Right. Here's what I think. I think if you want
by the way, all of our employees in this office getting paid way more than $15
way more than
an
$15
hour.
an
Yeah,
hour.
I think
Sam and I
put
pay
it
our
that way.
employees
Right.
way more than $15.
All right, so
a lot
we're
of
not guilty of this,
So
right?
a lot of you
We're
people watching,
sinless.
They're like, oh my gosh, are they paying the minimum wage? That
No.
they don't pay? Trust
We
me,
are-
There are days where some of our employees make more than we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me be very clear about that. Here's a problem that I have with the $15 an hour with the federal minimum wage. Is in a place like LA or Chicago, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. You should have it
City-based.
be. You know what? Forget 15. Make it $18 an hour as the minimum wage. Especially if you're in Los Angeles and Chicago, New York. If you're in a major city where the price and the cost of living is that high, absolutely they cannot live on $15 an hour. An hour, right?
It's not gonna happen.
You do the math. $15 times 8 hours a day. That's $120 times by 5. That's $600.
In LA, if you're making $100,000 a year, that's nothing. You're like everybody.
Well, so you multiply that by 4 weeks in a month. You're making $2,400 a month. You can't live off of that in Los Angeles.
Right.
The rent is $2,400 a month, and you're getting a 1-bedroom. You know what I mean? Shack.
Yeah.
You can't do that in Chicago. So for me, that's what I have a problem with. Make it $15 an hour. Make it higher for places that have a high cost of living. But on the other end of the spectrum, I'll use an Illinois example because we live in Illinois. If you're in Decatur, Illinois, you don't need the minimum wage to be $15 an hour. You don't. You could get away with 12 or 10, right? You can get away with somewhere closer to 12. But you don't need that in central Illinois.
Yeah,
and that's what
keep in mind, this is minimum.
This is minimum wage.
Like, so when we talk about minimum with anything, okay, you shouldn't be getting the minimum, right? Minimum is basically saying, hey, that's where you start, right? And again, I've said this before. If you're stuck at minimum wage for a while, I'll be brutally honest. That's on you, man.
Yeah,
that's on you. If you've been on minimum wage for the last 5 years, that's on you.
Well, here's the thing. Let me talk about why we're even having this discussion.
Yeah.
Right. Why is this even becoming an issue? Because Nick, Sam, we're all in our late 20s / early 30s, right? We're all kind of around the same age range at least. Do you guys remember this being an issue 10 years ago when we were in high school? Do you guys remember this being an issue?
For me, I don't remember this being an issue. But what I can tell you is, like, if I made $15 an hour when I was 16, that money would be gone instantly. I'd be buying video games. Because I worked my first job, it was like $7.25 an hour to Best Buy. Right. And all my money just went right back to the company.
Right. But you didn't have rent to pay, or like you didn't have to pay your water bill that you were so the question I'm asking is, do you remember that being an issue? Yes or no?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that being an issue when we were in high school?
No,
I don't remember that.
I was happy getting paid, period.
For sure. Like I don't remember, right? Because our parents made us do free stuff all the time.
Right.
But I don't remember this being a front issue where this is such a debatable topic now. But here's what I think. I think it's because 5-10 years ago. I'm sorry, more specifically 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We had a guy in the White House, and I'm not saying it's his fault. Please, right?
Yeah.
But the administration at the time made a big push that everybody should go to college.
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem, is you had all these people who went to college who shouldn't have gone to college.
Right.
But they were sold to go to college. They thought they should have. I mean, when you're 18, you don't have any idea what you're gonna do with your life.
No.
Right? So if somebody said, oh, everybody should go to college because now it's easy. We can just get a loan and we'll just take care of it later, right? The problem is you had all these people get degrees, and the labor market was not prepared to meet the expectations of all these people getting useless degrees.
Yeah.
Useless degrees. You know how many majors that colleges have added on the last 5-10 years? We've got stuff like women's studies. People major in East and African sea turtles. Like the stuff that people are majoring in nowadays is completely useless to our economy.
Yeah.
And people have not realized that. So these people get degrees. They have all this debt.
Yeah.
And these are the same people complaining, oh, we need $15 an hour because we got to pay off our student loans.
Right.
And I'm sitting over thinking, well, maybe it would have been a good idea to not major in East African sea turtles.
Yeah, and so you got to. I think the fundamental thing that we fail to teach to our high school students, middle school students, even down to elementary school. Kids are smart, man. They're not dumb. They can get it. I mean, even my 1-year daughter, she figured things out pretty quick now. Nick, right? Yeah. Kids can figure things out really quick.
Happy birthday to Rebecca.
Yeah.
She's 1 now.
Yeah. So here's the problem, right? We failed to teach kids that no one owes you crap. Like, no one owes you anything in this world, right? You don't automatically deserve a job because you live. That's not the world we live in. Yeah. We live in a world where if there's a demand for what you do, yeah, you get paid.
For sure.
Right? Is there a demand for medical professionals? Yes. People are sick.
Yeah.
We need professionals, medical professionals there. Do we need car mechanics? Yes. Car breaks down. Yeah, we need somebody to take a look at our car. So we have to teach our kids how to look at the economy through the lens of what does the economy need?
Not what you want.
Right.
What
not
does
what you
society
want.
need?
Not what you want. That's how the economy works.
Yeah.
It's not so. It's just like I just want to sometimes tear my hair out. Just
Well,
because,
what it is, Sam, is narcissism. These kids, man, they're narcissistic.
Yeah.
They're like, this is what I want to do, and I want to get paid $80,000 a year.
No one, and parents, if you're out there, please teach this to your kids. You don't deserve anything because of the fact that you're in America.
Yeah.
Okay?
I gotta chime in on this.
Go ahead, dude. Go for
I
it.
feel like that was me at one point, right? So
Someone owes you something?
yeah, because like when I went to school, I wasn't a high performing kid in high school.
Sure.
Right. I mean, I liked video games. I wanted to design video games, but then I realized how hard it was to design video games. So I kind of switched my major halfway through just to kind of graduate, try to get a job, right?
Yeah.
And when I graduated, I went to school for video production, which I got really lucky. I got so lucky because video production is something that's highly in demand now with social media. And anyone who went to school during my time or went to the Art Institute Illinois and you can't find a job, social media, because that's such a huge in demand thing.
Yeah.
But, I had a lot of stuff I needed to realize about myself, what I went to school for. Mm-hmm. And now, I became a business person, right? That was kind of my awakening. But it's like going through the whole that kind of school, like the basket weaving stuff I like to call it, it's like you feel like you deserve something because you did so much work right in school, but that's something we thought that we were going to get handed a job as we got out.
So that's the big thing, right? I think we taught our kids not to be grateful. We no longer teach the fact that doing hard things actually produces really good things, good character, produces patience.
Yeah.
Right? We're now teaching kids, hey, take the easy route. Don't go through hard things. And this has to do with also commitment, right?
Yeah.
We devalued the idea of commitment. I think this is why less people are getting married, more people are getting divorced, less people are committed to one thing. And part of that also is, if I don't get it in the next 5 minutes, it's not worth chasing it. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I don't want to keep running around in circles, right? Because I think we've done a good job, the three of us, at hitting the nail on the head in terms of what's really important in life, and we should have gratitude. But in all sincerity, this is also what happens. Let's go back on the economical train. Yeah. Right? Let's talk about the economy again, because I've got two thoughts. The first thought is that this is what happens when you have a global economy that's shifting from rewarding working hard versus working smart. We're living in a society and a global economy now where you don't get rewarded for working hard anymore. You don't. Sorry, guys. Sorry, kids. You don't get you get rewarded for working smart.
Yeah.
You're rewarded for observing what's happening in the marketplace, and you're rewarded for going and attacking it. Why do you think tradespeople make so much nowadays?
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody wanted to get into trades. It's
There's
just
a vacuum.
Right. Kids, it's supply and demand, right? The less tradespeople there are, the more valuable they are, right? I mean, we got friends, right? Shout out to our friend Alex Sanchez. Yeah.
You know, I mean, the guy was featured on CNBC for making 6 figures working as an
He's
electrician.
making nearly $250,000 a year.
Working as
he's
an
a lineman.
electrician, right?
He's a lineman. Yeah.
That's not the case 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, definitely
So that's
not.
point number 1. You know.
Yeah, we need to stop. So that's another thing. We need to stop looking down at these people and saying, "Oh, look at their work, right? Oh, we're in a high castle, haha, right?" No. Like, it just mind boggles me sometimes. Like, if you're a high school student right now watching this, or by some luck you stumbled on our video, it is okay to not go to college and go learn a trade.
Yeah.
It is okay.
100%,
It is okay to not be an A student and go be good at something that the economy wants.
All right,
okay?
so that's point number 1.
Yeah.
So point number 2 is that a lot of backlash to people saying, well, you should raise the minimum wage because of inflation.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it boggles my mind how uneducated people are a lot of times about the economy.
Yeah.
And what, unfortunately, due to social media platforms like Facebook, it makes everyone think that their opinion is right.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry to tell you, but your opinion, zilch, does not
Yeah.
mean anything. Right? Unless you have experience in that industry, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing with this whole COVID stuff. Like, unless you are a doctor who's been working at least 20, 30 years and you've seen one of these pandemics before, I don't care if you're a 25-year-old nurse practitioner. You've never seen a pandemic before. You don't have experience. I want to hear from the people who have experience. You know?
Yeah.
So
Facts are stubborn things, dude.
Oh, I know. But okay, so this is my point. So a lot of people who have a problem with, you know, the minimum wage not being high enough, right? Which, guys, I agree. As cost of living, the minimum wage should be adjusted for cost of living, meaning that in cities like LA, Chicago, yes, you should have a high minimum wage.
Yeah.
You should, because that is what's required to live there, right? If you're in a small town, right, where actually there's been studies showing that there's places where cost of living actually goes down, right?
Yeah.
The minimum wage should adjust for that also. To
Yeah,
help small businesses.
but I disagree with the fact that the government should be doing that. Right?
Exactly.
There's got to
That's
be
what I
a
mean.
natural market force that drives the cost, not either the cost down or bring the wage up by a mean of some kind of an organic.
It has to be on a
growth.
case-by-case basis.
Right.
That's like having 12 kids. You know, one's 18 and one's 1, and you buy a small-sized coat and expect them to share clothes. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So here's point number 2. A lot of people are saying, well, Daniel, you know, the minimum wage always has to be going up because you got to adjust for inflation. Well, do you know, dummy, that there's years where we actually have a deflationary rate?
Yeah.
There's no inflationary rate at
All the time, right.
All the time, right? If anything, the inflation rate right now is 2.5, and that's with us printing trillions and trillions of dollars. It's been very few times actually in the last 5 years that the inflation rate has gone over 2.5%. Did you know that? There's years actually where it goes below, it goes negative. There's deflationary rates at times. So it should be on a case-by-case basis as opposed to, hey, let's do the right and moral thing by raising the minimum wage to $23,000 an hour, right? Guys, we gotta adjust for the economy.
What is an acceptable minimum wage at that point? $100,
Right.
$200? I mean, it's like it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And you gotta know that. And here's what bothers me again: the people who make these bills and policies, a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, they do not understand the backlash
Right.
of the bill that they are proposing, the
Yeah.
policy that they are proposing.
And
a lot of them don't understand.
Yeah,
that.
and a lot of times these bills are also not solving the root of the problem. The problem is still growing, yet they're literally just, you know, trying to suppress it by introducing some kind of an artificial, you know, mechanism, right?
Kicking the can down the road.
Right. So, yeah, $12 an hour. Everyone says $12 an hour is fair. Yeah, I think it, again, goes back to the city specific. You know, if you're living in Boonestown, Kansas, right, you don't need $15 an hour.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's what drives me crazy about the stimulus bill too. Is that everybody's so quick to hurt the wealthy.
Yeah.
Let me be very honest with you guys, right? The business owners, corporations, the guys who make billions and millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right. These guys, they're smart, right? They are a heck of a lot smarter than the people who write these policies. And if you think for a second, like, oh, Joe Biden is passing this policy that the rich can get taxed, and you know, and the poor will be helped. That, guys, I guarantee you that is not the case. The way that the tax code and structure is written right now, the wealthy know the rules of the game.
Yeah.
Right. And if anything, a lot of times, a lot of these very progressive policies that are being pushed actually hurt the middle class significantly more than the rich or the wealthy.
Yeah.
You got to know the consequences, the backlash of what's going on, right? So what are some other things on this new bill, Sam?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, those are the quick bullet points, but just another reminder, guys. Go and if you guys are enjoying this conversation right now, you guys are playing this dialogue in your head. If you guys are agreeing, disagreeing, I don't know. Either way, go and smash the like button. If you don't like what we're saying, then go and click the dislike. It really doesn't matter.
Guys, please like the video.
Yeah, like the video.
Don't dislike it. It actually does help the algorithm. It helps push out our channel.
No, if you disagree with us, dislike. I mean, we don't want to force you to like stuff. You know, that's not what we're about. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Joe Biden's plan, that's the one thing that sticks out to me the most is the minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems to be the biggest part. Of course, you know, there's stuff with state funding.
Here's what I have a big problem with too is that you know, the tax credit that he's giving the first-time home buyers. You know, I believe that's what is that 10,000 or 15,000?
But that's not in the bill.
That's 15,000. But I know that's an initiative that he's trying to push.
He will try to push that.
He will
in 2
try
years.
to push that.
Yeah.
Here's the big problem I have with it. And again, it's politicians not knowing where we are in the economy and not knowing the consequences and simply putting words on a bill because it makes them look good and it's going to help them get reelected. Right? This is the big problem I have with Joe. And so a lot of you guys, there's 126 people watching right now. A lot of you guys might be saying, well, Daniel, isn't it wise to incentivize people to be first-time home buyers? Isn't it wise? Isn't that going to help our economy? Isn't $15,000 credit to buying a first home, isn't that going to help us? Well, here's the problem that I have with that. You know, let me ask you guys this, right? So please comment down below. Let's get some engagement going on. If you are a parent of a child who's between 14 to 16, 17 years old, right? 14 to 17 years old, please comment down below, right? I'm going to keep my phone right here. And I'm going to look for you guys. If you are a parent of a child between the ages of 14 and 17 years old, please comment down below. Now, to you guys, let me ask you guys a question. That is around the age, right? I'm going to bring this question because I was at the DMV this morning. I was there at 7:30 a.m. in the morning when they wake up. I didn't get out till 10 o'clock, right? I was there for 2.5 hours waiting out in the cold, all right? So Keon Wayne says, I'm 15. Dude, congrats on being here, being 15 years old and having this knowledge in your brain now. I can't imagine where you're going to be at 30. It's going to be phenomenal. Okay, so if you're a parent that has a child between the ages of 14 to 17 years old, let me ask you this question. Imagine if your child went up to you and says, Dad, Mom, I just got my permit, right? And I've been thinking very long and hard about what my first car is going to be, right? And again, my decision is I want a Ferrari 355 Spider. What are you gonna say as a parent? Nick, you're a parent. How old is Peyton again?
She's 7.
So 7. So imagine if she's double her age, 14 years old. What would you tell her?
I would tell her no, and then I would tell her find a Toyota Camry.
Right. Okay.
2002.
So for you, and you're a great dad. You know.
Thank you.
Why would you tell her that?
Cars depreciate so quickly. For one, right? They lose their value. I don't care what car it is; it will lose its value no matter what.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would just say, what feels like you're entitled to a nice car like that?
Right, for sure. Yeah. But
and I wouldn't mind, buying a first car for my kid.
Yeah.
My dad did that for me.
But why a Ferrari? Why specifically? Like, why do you say Toyota Camry or Corolla? But why would you be against her getting a Ferrari?
You might be able to afford like maybe one payment.
Yeah.
Then you won't be able to afford it. And then what about like?
But she's also a first-time driver.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of car for a first-time driver.
Exactly. So it's safety. You know what I mean? She can't handle it.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's not a good driver yet.
Right.
So that's what I mean. You know what I mean? A lot of times this $15,000 bill, the housing market has already been artificially inflated, and it will continue to do so. Jerome said it, Sam said it, I'm saying it. So why on earth would you give even more incentive for the prices of the single-family house to rise even further? If you're really gonna help the American person buy a home for cheap and make it affordable, incentivize real estate developers to build single-family homes in places that actually need homes.
Yeah.
What is that going to do? Supply and demand. The more homes there are, the lower the price gets. And it actually fixes the affordable housing issue. Why don't you do that, politicians? Mr. Bo Jiden? Why don't you do that? If anything, that helps the first-time home buyer even more. Because instead of artificially raising the price of a home, you're actually incentivizing real estate developers and investors to actually develop more good quality homes, new development, stuff that people will actually enjoy that doesn't have any maintenance issues, and you're lowering the price through a free market economy. You're doing it naturally, and you're not, right? Some of these, Sam, am I crazy?
No, man.
You know what I mean? Like, do
You know,
people not think?
Well, hold on. So I think Nick said it the other day. You know, what is evil has now become good, and what is good has become now evil. I can almost say what is crazy is now normal, and what is normal is now crazy. Like, you know, it's like we live in a backward world now, and I don't know if it's getting better, it's getting worse, but I hope that gets better. But we live in a world, at least in the United States. I think that's another thing is I think what happens when a country that is so successful like the United States will start to implode on itself on that success.
I don't want to implode.
I don't want to implode, sir. Yeah.
Sir, I don't want to implode.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street joke there. But you know, if you go to countries like, you know, that are third world countries, they don't have these problems.
Nope.
They don't have these problems. They're happy. In fact, they're a lot happier than we are. You go to Africa or certain parts of South America, very, very happy people down there. Yeah, we are the richest country in the world. Okay, maybe China might catch up to us, but by far per capita, we are the richest country in the world. Yet we have some of the most unhappiest people. We're bickering.
Medicated.
Right? Yeah, that's what it is. So,
Very medicated.
Crazy is the new normal. All right, guys. So we are at the top of the hour. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Where I think we can continue this conversation on minimum wage next week.
Yeah.
You know, it gives us some time to develop some more thoughts on it, but. We will most likely have a video out for you guys about Joe Biden's stimulus package, what that looks like, how it's going to hurt or help.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole story just yet. I have to go into research mode to do that. And also, that being said, I actually, I'll mention this next week. Come back next week.
Real quick, guys, on Monday at 6 p.m., 6 p.m., right, Nick?
Yes, sir.
What are you guys doing?
On Monday at 6 p.m., we're going to release a video on how
that's right.
the Federal
Yeah.
Reserve may actually end up saving or causing a 2021 housing market crash. So 6 p.m. that's coming out, guys. Please stay tuned. Go like that video. Subscribe to our channel for more information. Because, you know, I got to hand it to Sam. He's been doing a great job updating us on the EIDL, the stimulus, the PPP.
Yeah.
You know, so subscribe to our channel, guys. Please like this video. Again, Monday at 6 p.m. We're going to be releasing a video why the Federal Reserve may save or cause the 2021 housing crash. And of course, also our event Deal Closer Live is happening January 26th. We got myself, Jerome Maldonado. We got Mr. Ty Lopez, who's going to be speaking. My friend, Mr. Steve Hamilton. We're going to talk about how to make money in real estate in 2021.
Yeah.
DealCloserLive.com. Get your tickets, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. We'll have some videos out for you Monday and Wednesday. Depending on what EIDL and Paycheck Protection Program does, we'll have another video on Tuesdays and Thursdays again. So with that being said, love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining, and we'll continue our conversation next week. Take care, guys.
Okay.
All right.